The method I'm going to reveal in this video for destroying depression is going to be miles better than any therapy, any talking about it, or any medication that you can ever take. Because when I felt like a literal piece of shit, I listened to all these, oh, the scientific way to cure depression. And it never fucking worked because, bro, how the fuck is taking omega-3 fish oils going to help me destroy depression? Like, bro, what the fuck? So by the end of this video, you'll know the exact method to destroy depression so hard that it can literally never ever come back, and you get to feel finally proud of yourself every night when you look in the mirror before going to bed. So first of all, you need to understand that depression is not a disease. It's not some magical thing that, oh yeah, shit, I feel horrible and you suddenly feel like that. No, depression is simply cause and effect. If you decide to scroll on your phone, you will get a shorter attention span and the desire for more stimulation. If you fucking jack off and goon, then you will feel horrible afterwards because you literally choked the chicken to fucking pixels on a screen. It's very simple, and it also goes the other way around, because when you go to the gym, then the effect of that is that you get bigger muscles. It's the same thing with good and bad things. And so all these bad habits, because let's be honest, you probably already know which ones are bad habits, they lower your happiness over time, and the good habits, they boost your happiness feeling over time. And we can actually use this because then you can get into like a upward spiral or a downward spiral, and we can go from a downward spiral to an upward spiral in our life by simply reversing the bad habits and doing something else instead. And this brings me to delayed and instant gratification, because there are two main activities. One is instant gratification activities and the other one is delayed gratification activities. And instant gratification activities are the ones that you're doing. They give you the instant feeling of comfort now, but then you feel like empty afterwards. So basically, instead of saying I want to feel good tomorrow, you say I'm going to feel worse tomorrow and then I'm going to feel comfortable today. You already know which activities these are. And then on the other hand, we have the delayed gratification activities. And these are the ones that maybe, you know, they feel a bit painful today, but tomorrow they will make your life feel better. And so if you go to the gym, it might be hard today, you know, oh, it's hard to push the weights and I can't be asked to go there and I have to push myself and all this stuff. But tomorrow, you'll feel the benefit. And, you know, maybe not like exactly tomorrow, but in a few months, you'll see your muscles have grown, you become more healthy, you've gotten stronger. But if you scroll today, your attention span will be shorter tomorrow. You'll need more stimulation tomorrow. This is how cause and effect works, and these are the difference between the delayed gratification activities and the instant gratification activities. And this is how I discovered the way to break the cycle of depression, because this goes to show what the ultimate form of self-love is, which is the thing that I want to share with you now. Because let's be honest, you click on a video about self-love, if you've ever searched it up to try and solve your depression, it's like this girl who's sitting there, oh yeah, put a bath bomb in and take a oh my god, drink some hot chocolate and take a self-care day. But let's be honest, that shit doesn't work because you're already addicted to dopamine. The real masculine and way for us men to start loving ourselves is through delayed gratification, or as I say it, discipline. Because when you have discipline, you can be able to say, fuck my emotions now, I will go ahead and do this hard thing so that my future self can benefit from it. I'll go ahead and delay gratification for him. I'll go ahead and go to the gym now, even though my muscles are kind of already sore, and then tomorrow and in 6 months I will have built more muscle. That's the ultimate self-love, because instead of taking away happiness from our future self, we give it to him. Because until now, the reason why you feel like shit, and I will put in like a visualization of this over time, which like shows what happens when you do the instant gratification activities and the delayed gratification activities. So it'd be like the bar of how happy you feel. And when you indulge in comfort and instant gratification, what you're basically doing is that you're taking away comfort and happiness from your future self. You're saying, no, I'll have it today. I'll eat the shit food and watch TikTok, and then you can feel horrible later on. That's what you've been doing until now, and that's why you feel so shitty now. But if you were to instead be disciplined today, do things that you maybe didn't want to do, but you knew were going to be good for you, then instead You'll feel better tomorrow because you're sacrificing comfort today and giving it to your future self. And one last thing before we get into the practical action steps that you can take to start destroying your depression is, I will leave a link in the description or maybe on screen, whatever, to a mental health test that you can take to see how bad your mental health is. And then once you really need to take this before watching the next part of the video, and then you can just take a screenshot of it, and because we'll need it later in the video. So yeah, go do that right now, and then yeah, move on. So here are what I call the 3 main mental health habits, and you've probably heard about them. So let's just go through them and why we want to do them. So the first one is meditation. And before I explain how we do it, I want to explain why we do this. So basically, meditation is kind of a way of training our brain to live in the present moment. When we experience bad thoughts like anxious thoughts or worrying, it's most likely that instead of just living and being in the moment like I am right here in nature, right, we'll fall into thought, and we'll just like the thing where you just stare and your brain just starts to think all random sorts of thoughts. By meditating, we train ourselves to live again in the moment instead of always being deep in our mind overthinking, which is one big part of feeling horrible, that we're always overthinking. The way that we meditate is basically, the easiest way to do it is just like this. Just take deep breaths, or maybe just normal breath like I did there, and just focus on your breath as it's coming and going, because your breath is obviously completely present. It happens right now. And then what will happen is, like, after you've done this for like maybe 30 seconds, 10 seconds, your brain will start to like wander, and it will be like thinking about something else, go deep in thought, as your brain usually does. And then the trick is to just bring it back, because with meditation, we're not trying to focus on our breath for long without on focusing. The practice is simply bringing our attention back, and that is what will fucking change your life, bro. That is what will change your life, because then we literally train our brain to refocus on being in the moment instead of like, oh yeah, I'm worrying, oh yeah, I'm gonna go home and kill myself, right? You train your brain to live in the moment, which is way better for your mental health. Now, you can use an app called Medito. That's the one I use for meditation. I've used it for 3 years or something like that. So yeah, just use that one. Click on the daily meditation once you get the app, and yeah, do the 3-5 minutes, whatever, how many you can handle right now. Now, the second habit we want to do to destroy depression is gratitude journaling. And so, if you don't know about this, basically the opposite to anxiety is gratitude. So let's say you're feeling anxious about something and you're worrying all the time. If you genuinely force your brain to be grateful, the anxious thought will go away, because it's the complete opposite to it. So how do we implement this in our life? Well, we want to be more happy and obviously less anxious in our life, right? That is what gratitude journaling will do. Every morning when you wake up, you simply grab a little notebook by your bed. I'll put a picture up on screen so you can see how it looks for me. And then you write down with your pen just a couple of things that you're grateful for. I write down 5 things every day that I'm grateful for. And you can't do this on computer. You have to feel the feeling of writing down on that thing. And what this will do for you is that it will give you kind of like an association between waking up and feeling happy. You'll be grateful for waking up, which in turn makes you happy. You can't sit there and have not a smile on your face as you're writing, oh, I'm so grateful for the meal that my mom cooked me. I'm grateful for sitting here in nature. I'm grateful that I get to have such a nice comfy bed. It doesn't matter if you write silly things, just write things down. And over time, your brain will start associating waking up with being grateful and being happy. And soon, not only will you feel like that in the morning, you'll just go about your day and be like, oh shit, look at that tree over there, that's like beautiful. Or look at this view that I have and the sun coming down. I hope you can see from the camera, right? You'll get those things just throughout the day, and you'll feel more happy, more just grateful for living, instead of always being sad. Oh yeah, I'm a little emo, no girls like me, no nothing, right? I get no friends, nobody wants to talk to me. You start being grateful for what you have, and soon you'll even be grateful for the bad things that happen to you. And so let's go on to the last habit that I do for mental health, and this one is called, or I call it, problem journaling. So this is more an occasional thing, that is not so much like a daily habit. I mean, you can do it if you have problems daily, and I have done that as well. But this is more so every time there is a nagging thought in your brain. When you're going about your day and there's one thing that keeps annoying your brain, and it goes on for weeks. That's your brain telling you that there is an annoying problem that it wants to think about, and you keep not letting it think. You either sleep, you scroll, you do something, right? So what we do to get away with this anxious feeling and worrying about some big problem is that we just, again, grab out the notebook and you just write down all of your thoughts. Maybe ask yourself, where does this come from? How can I solve it? And even if you don't solve the problem and you just write down all of the shitty thoughts, it will improve your life so much, because now you basically transfer your thoughts down onto the paper, and now the anxiety is on the paper. Now the bad feelings are on the paper, they're not in your brain anymore. And so now you can go back to living like a more peaceful life where you're not worrying, because you spilled your thoughts out onto the paper, so they've like kind of left your mind. And this works so well. It's like when you have like maybe a big decision or some school project, or somebody said something horrible to you and you can't stop thinking about it. Once you like get that written down and you start to think a little bit about it and you journal about it, it really helps you, because you get the thoughts out of your brain, so your brain is fresh again. And if you're ready to take your mental health to the next step, you can go down into the description and click the first link. It's everything I know on depression and how to deal with bad mental health. It's literally all I've learned throughout these 3 years. Yeah, go check out the Analog Revival, first link in the description. Alright, those were the 3 mental health habits. Now there's 2 more things that I need you to do that will greatly improve your mental health, and they're a bit unconventional. So the first one is exercise, and specifically like strength training. And I know you might say, oh well, but you know, I'm working out my muscles, how's that going to help my mental health? I feel like a fucking douchebag, completely piece of shit, right? But trust me, if you're like me and you've always been like kind of skinny fat, and I was even short as well when I was younger, I always felt insecure of my body and kind of horrible. The thing that gave me the biggest confidence boost and better feeling about myself was the day I stepped into the gym for the first time. Trust me, bro. I remember literally my first training session. I came home and I already had changed my identity. I already felt like more of the guy who was like an athlete, who's going to the gym, who's working out, who takes care of himself, instead of the lazy gooner who sits at home and eating crisps all day, right? Just within one training session, I already started to get that confidence, and I started to feel better about myself, because I knew I was going in the direction. Now the progress was just lacking, you know, the results just wasn't there yet, but I was still taking the right actions. And the amount of confidence that going to the gym builds for you, because you actually start to respect yourself, that is just so important for your mental health. And I really urge you to do just any form of workout. I recommend going to the gym though. I tried to do the home workout shit for a long time. It never fucking worked. But that's a side note. Let's go on to the last thing. And you're going to call me crazy for this. And the reason why you're going to call me crazy is because you're depressed. If you were a healthy, normal human being, you wouldn't call me crazy. So what I do is I go into nature and I play. Yes, I am an 18-year-old guy and I play. As you can see right now, I've gone into the forest to film this video. One of my favorite activities is going into nature. Trust me, bro, you cannot be depressed when you're in nature. Think about yourself when you were younger. What were you doing? You were in nature, you were jumping over puddles, you're climbing trees, you'd be playing football. So the way that we bring the childlike happiness that everybody seems to be talking about back is to fucking do the shit that we did when we were kids. It's so simple, but nobody does this because, oh yeah, it's weird to be a kid and play. What I literally do with my friend is at least once a week we go down into the forest, we climb a tree. Literally last week we put on like wading pants, we went into our local water stream and we just walked for like 2 kilometers. We do actual nature shit. We play football in nature, we climb trees, we will literally like fucking fight with sticks, just like when you're a kid. And trust me, can you remember when you have been depressed in a tree, when you're climbing a tree, when you're playing? No, you cannot. You can genuinely, it's not possible to be depressed as you're in a tree. I genuinely don't believe that. So the action step here is to just at least once a week, preferably once a day, go out into nature, play, climb a tree. It might feel awkward, but it's going to improve your mental health so much, because it's what we did when we were kids, and it's what we did when our ancestors was out. They were out in nature all day. They weren't just sitting in the scruffy cum smelling room scrolling TikTok all day. You get no fresh air, you get no feeling of what it's actually like to be a fucking real human being, and that's why you're depressed. This is one of the biggest factors, is just going out into nature and living an actual life instead of just being on the internet constantly. And if you want to get even more out of nature, be social as you're doing it. Do like I do with my friend, like we go in here together and we play together. You can take your family and go on a trip or something. Just be social, because that is obviously a thing that helps with depression as well. If you can't, then you'll still get great benefits from just going in nature alone. So now we've covered how depression actually works and all of the habits that you need to do. But how the fuck do we stay on track and actually make progress with this and actually want to do it? Because let's be honest, these things may be quite hard when you're used to scrolling 6 hours a day. That's exactly what I'm going to show you now. So the first thing I've done is to make delayed gratification addictive by using a habit tracker. So, you know, when we play video games, there's like XP and, you know, leveling up, and there's this XP bar that we can follow. What I've done to replicate this in real life is that I've made a kind of like a paper. I'll put a picture again on the screen so you can see it, where I literally tick a box for every habit that I do, and on the habit tracker I'll put down, you know, the nature, meditation, all of the habits that I just mentioned. You put those habits on your habit tracker, and every time you do the activity, you tick the box, and then you get that like kind of dopamine spike feeling, and it gets you like addicted. It feels like you're leveling up and that you're gaining XP from each activity that you're doing. And that is how we like incorporate that video game like feeling into real life, and it makes you so much more keen to doing this. And not only does it like make it more addictive, it's also the ultimate accountability, because what I want you to do is literally place that habit tracker right by your bed. Like literally lie down on your pillow. That's what I do, and I spoke about this in so many videos. Lie down on your pillow and literally look where your eyes are going to look in the morning. Hang the habit tracker right there, and it's ultimate accountability. You will not quit, you know, and not do the habits, because it's going to haunt you if you don't. And the last thing about this, to not quit these habits, make it the bare minimum. Make it 3 minutes of meditation, 1 line of gratitude journaling. Just keep it to the bare minimum so that you don't quit. And now the second thing we do is kind of goal setting. So this is why I wanted you to take the mental health test earlier, because now that you have those results, we set a goal on how much we aim to improve our mental health. So let's say you got a very high depression score on that test, right? You can aim to make it like 0 or just lower it a little bit. And then again, I'll put a picture up on screen so you can make a goal template like mine. You just write that goal on top, and then you make like small boxes with like stepping stones towards the end goal. And again, that will act as the XP bar that we are used to having in video games. And you can visually see the progress, and it will motivate you on a day-to-day basis getting towards that goal. That was it, mate. This was everything, the full system that you need to know to destroy depression. But now you need to go ahead and take action, because let's be honest, if nothing changes, nothing changes. In the description, I've put a template to the habit tracker. You can download it, put on the habits that I mentioned, start doing them the bare minimum today, and set a goal. It's very simple, but it's not easy. So yeah, that was it. Put one foot in front of the other.